Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take a few minutes of your time and talk about the legalization of marijuana. We're going to talk about this because, as we just had our elections on November 8th, there were 9 states that voted on whether or not to legalize marijuana in some form or fashion, whether it be for medicinal or recreational use. This is a very big issue because over the past 10 to 15 years, we've seen a total of 26 states now pass legislation for the use of either medicinal marijuana or recreational and medicinal purposes. So after November 8th, we now have 26 states that support legalization of marijuana. This also includes Washington, D.C., which is our capital. So let's talk about the pros and cons of legalization first to kind of get the baseline. So it's going to boost revenue, right? You're going to tax this. People are going to pay money to use it so the state and local governments can make money. It also provides law enforcement the opportunity to concentrate on more violent crimes and takes their resources to look more at what's really important, right? To go after the harder criminals versus the petty criminals, getting pulled over for carrying a joint or, selling an ounce to their neighbor. They can concentrate on people robbing and stealing and doing the really bad things. Decriminalization of this, which is making it not so much of a crime, right? Decriminalization will mean if you get stopped and you have weed on you, you're not going to get in trouble or in as much trouble as you would. So that means you're not going to have it on your record. So if you're a college kid and you're on break after your finals for some reason and you had made the choice to smoke pot and you get caught, instead of this going on your permanent record and following you and possibly ruining your life and getting you kicked out of college and put in jail, etc., it won't be such a big deal, right? You'll get a pass as just chalking it up to a dumb mistake. This also provides less money, so it takes money from the bad criminals and gives it to the government. So you're going to not be funding gangs, big time criminals, possibly terrorists, right? Bad people make their money by selling drugs. So this takes money away from them and puts it back into the local economy. It creates jobs, right? So you have different layers of this industry between people that grow it, people that dispense it, people that enforce security, finance. So multiple jobs added. And also it's easier to check the purity, the quality of the substance. In theory, you should be able to regulate that a little bit more. Now, on the other side of this, you have all the issues that people raise with all drugs. It's addictive. It is. Moderation is everything, right? If you smoke or do or drink something all the time, you're going to become chemically dependent on it in some way. Also, people with who are predisposed to having addictive tendencies will be more likely to be addicted to marijuana. Once again, this is something you are smoking, so you have all the same health problems as smoking cigarettes or anything else, right? Cardiovascular problems, circulation problems, long-term effects on brain damage, things like that. Although it has been proven to be less than alcohol or other drugs like heroin or prescription drugs, there are still risks involved. It can be seen as a gateway drug, right, for people who are curious or experimenting, especially adolescents. And so another big issue is the marketing and towards adolescents and how children may have more access to it if it's legal. Statistics show that 53% of Americans support overall legalization of marijuana versus 44% who are against it. And 70% of Americans think alcohol is a worse substance. And 49% of Americans ages 30 to 49 admit to having tried it at least once, with 36% ages 18 to 29 having said that they have tried it at least once. So it's something that is fairly common. So if you look at Colorado as an example, crime is down 8.9% overall for property crimes. Taxes are up over $40 million. Marijuana arrests are down 84%, and employment is up. They added 16,000 new jobs. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So you still have some issues to be worked out. There hasn't been the testing that there's supposed to be. They have lawsuits from other states of people crossing lines with pot on them, and it can only be consumed on private property. So there are a lot of entanglements in this, but overall the evidence suggests that there are more pros for legalizing marijuana than there are cons.